Welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast. Have you ever thought, why should I research my market? What do I really need to know? Well, with me today is Noreen Cesareo. Noreen set up Market Accents to help businesses stay relevant and grow, owning their own space. A strategist, thought leader, author, lecturer, and marketing communications professional. She is passionate about enterprise, international trade, and new technologies. She supports markets through Market Accents and enables customer experiences for her clients. Noreen is committed to education and enterprise for women. So we're going to find out more about that. So welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast, Noreen.
Thank you very much, Janice. It's nice to be here, and I feel that hearing you talk about scale your sales and the marketing together, there's such a beautiful complementary discipline. It's great to actually be over here. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Well, we're going to find out more about you and what you think. So first of all, tell us about Market Accents.
Right. Well, as you said in the intro, through Market Accents, we help companies stay relevant and actually grow. So we're helping them find out who they are, find out their actual clients, develop their own unique space, own that space, and make use of all the integrated marketing and communications programs they can have at their fingertips. We're trying to make a real difference within enterprise because we want to ensure that the companies keep on innovating, they are in tune with the customers, and they are actually making a profit to ensure there is ongoing trade. If you had to ask me, so what's making you different from all the other companies out there, I've probably taken your question there, Janice, sorry. It is our market insights, it's our market knowledge, and it's also the passion and vision we bring to the table. So when we work with clients, we almost become their right-hand partners. We know as much about the company as they do. We go deeper. We understand the markets they're operating in. We know the trends that are coming in. So we can advise them on new business models they may be interested in. We can discuss the go-to-market strategies and help them implement them. We bring a lot of knowledge on the social scene, the social marketing and selling. And we develop them for growth locally and internationally within trade and enterprise. We always have very good close relationships with customers, as you know, and many of them actually become very good friends as well. So we love what we're doing.
So tell me a bit more about your background, because it almost seems that you were meant to be in this position with your cultural background and the places that you've worked. So it seems to be a beautiful alignment.
I've always been involved in trade and enterprise from a very young age. I've worked across a variety of companies and sizes. So from the very, very small to the very, very big, large multi-internationals. We're talking about companies that span the globe in financial services and hospitality, white goods, supply chain. I've worked there. And what it's done is it's given me a great perspective on the international trading area and on enterprise itself, because I've seen small companies grow both organically and try to develop that spurting growth, which comes from, as you rightly put it, the scale your sales element. And I've also worked with the large monolithic companies that are great and big and present in every land. And what you take from all of this is the be global, act local perspective, which I must say has been some of the great lessons I have taken away from my time with corporate companies. Considering that I myself am an entrepreneur, I've taken all of that background and the fact that I am coming from, I'm international, so I come from Malta, I've worked in the US, I've worked in Canada, I'm here in the UK, I've worked across Europe. And I think it's a great big pot of melting cultures that actually brings so much to the table, both in terms of diversity and in terms of experience.
Excellent. So what do you think has changed in B2B, the B2B relationship between buyers and sellers?
It's interesting. Sales teams today must be strategic and proactive. The buyer and seller relationship, which is dependent on each other, is changing because of a lot of the technology that's coming in, a lot of the market demands. So this is obviously being reflected in the way sales team approach that relationship to take it forward. And I've just started off talking about the fact that they should be strategic and proactive, because the buyers are so much more knowledgeable and they have so much more information at their fingertips. They are using technology in a way that gives them insights which previously weren't available to them so easily. So whereas sales teams before may have been guiding them along and then may have been a source of information, please tell me more about this, show me more about that, the buying relationship has now changed, and that sometimes it's gotten shorter in areas and in depth in more areas where they want the relationship to be built on trust, and obviously being comfortable that the sales team really understands what the solution needs to be and can provide a relevant solution rather than a solution which is one fits all. So there has been a lot of changes, and this can be seen both in B2B and B2C. So in B2C, where you've got more impulse purchases happening because of the fact that we've got shops open 24/7 at our fingertips through technology, and also in stores when we're walking in, we can see and test. And on the B2B side, same thing. I can go and see what the company is offering anytime I want, call them the next day, set up a meeting, and I can go and actually almost generate that demand rather than have the sales team come and generate me, which is where the sales team therefore needs to be more proactive in all of this, take a strategic role and actually identify the markets they want to go for so that they can be there before the client actually wants to go in and buy.
And that's where having an awareness of the market information where you come in, that's why that's really important. And just picking up on what you said about B2C, B2C is influencing B2B in that they're people and they're used to streaming on Netflix or having next day deliveries. So there's a certain expectation in B2B that it's going, even though it's more complicated, the process behind delivering goods and services, the expectation is still the same because it's people to people. Would you agree?
It is, I agree entirely. And not only that, we're almost being trained on the B2C side to expect, as you said, just-in-time delivery. I can get it if I want to pay more today, if not I pay it for tomorrow. They're training the B2B side to be demanding the similar services on the products and services that you normally get within a professional environment. So it's almost like a testing ground, first tested within the B2C, and then it migrates over to the B2B, giving us time at least to catch up on the curve. And this is why I said earlier that we have become more sophisticated as buyers, we are more sophisticated. So as a salesperson, when you're actually approaching a client, you need to remember that the client is also a person who has at his disposal all the tools as a consumer in a B2B arena and a B2C arena, and he will transfer those over. So he's going to contact you on WhatsApp, he's going to contact you on Twitter, he's going to contact you on LinkedIn, whereas a couple of years ago, you may have never expected anything like this. And for a customer to even address you informally on an email seemed to be something of a wow moment. And yet today, literally, you can get a customer approaching you on any channel as long as they can have a trusted conversation through it, they're fine.
Which is a great point to actually look at your personal brand if you're a seller, and look at actually what you're putting out there, because everyone can see it and people are judging you based on that. So you have to make sure that you protect your personal brand, and it gives your potential buyers the impression that you want it to.
Yeah, I look at it this way. Your office is never closed. So they are online, you're on LinkedIn, you're in everywhere. You need to be everywhere because you never know where your customer is coming from. And this is where marketing truly comes into its own in terms of aiding the sales process. I see sales and marketing going together. So marketing is going to tell you where the customer is found. It's going to tell you how the customer likes to be communicated. Are they people who are constantly on Instagram? Therefore, you need to have a very active Instagram account. Or are they people who live on LinkedIn? Or are they not on social media at all? do they prefer that face-to-face environment, because they're still not as attuned to social media as your generation Zers and millennials, which are now already in the in the workforce, and therefore using the same tools that they've grown up with, because they're
Yeah.
a more internet savvy audience.
So tell me a bit more about women in enterprise, women in business. This is an area I know that you're really passionate about. Do you think it's in a healthy state? And if not, what more can be done?
It is never in a healthy state that we can stop working at it. There's loads to be done. I would say that there is work being done. There's a lot of very good organizations that are making strides in this area. Um, it's not enough. And a lot of women organizations need to take it upon themselves to educate themselves more about how they can actually go to market faster and be there. It's not a matter of having positive discrimination because you're a woman-owned business. It's about having equal access to the opportunities available. And the business is not going to work with you just because you are a woman-owned business. They will work with you because you can offer a quality service as much as any other business can. So there's a lot to go in terms of both altering the mindset, the expected mindset coming from the seller, in that they can look at women-owned businesses in the same way as they look at other businesses, and therefore they should be offering opportunities to them. And for the women-owned businesses, they need to up the game to make sure that they are delivering the same quality services as there are on the market. We should hopefully arrive at a stage where we don't need to say, I am a woman-owned business, because it makes no difference from any other business, and I have equal opportunities to tenders, to being able to speak to larger businesses or public services.
So I know that you've worked with a lot of mid-cap, small and mid-cap businesses. And, what would you say is the difference between a female salesperson and a male salesperson? Do you think there is any difference?
I think this is where probably some of the softer skills do come in. Empathy, being able to put yourself in the shoes of the customer and go through the customer journey with them at places to make sure that you are taking them along and not ignoring them. And it sounds sexist, and I don't like to say it, but I think probably we're more attuned with these softer skills because they're coming much more naturally, be it when you're organizing, trying to put a point across. And I think in a funny way, they actually give us an advantage because we can read body language much more easily. And this is why it's so important to be on a face-to-face environment with your team. So you must maintain the social skills. Even when you're talking on via email or Twitter or chat, you're still speaking professionally. And a woman can manage to get that point across many times slightly better because we're more emphatic and more in tune with what the customer is feeling when they're at that stage.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. So who is your hero or shero?
Oh, shero. I love that word. It's Her Majesty the Queen. Throughout her reign, I never failed to read her story and be amazed. She's had a long reign, and long may she reign more. Right from the start, when she started and she was a young woman in her 20s, she faced a lot of challenges, including perception that she's never going to make it or live up to the ideas that people are expecting, and yet she made that role her own. This role is always traditionally seen as a man's role, so to do that on an international level takes a lot. She's always been extremely dignified. She's aware of everything. She has taken an international stage very well, politically, even socially. And at a time when you have a lot of monarchies in Europe have lost touch with their audiences, she has remained very relevant and moved on with the times. Hey, she has her own Twitter account and she has her own Instagram account. So she was also wise enough to actually allow TV to film her coronation. And the very step that she's taken to be in touch with her people has shaped her reign. So if I take that back into why she is my hero, my shero, and understand where we're coming from, which is understanding your audience and understanding your market, I think she truly does understand the market. She keeps in touch with it, and she knows when it's feeling cautious or wary or uncertain. And in her own quiet way, she can, with dignity, move that forward.
So how can the audience here get in touch with you?
Well, Considering we've been talking about all technology, we're on all social media, and you can actually email us directly, Noreen@marketaccents.com. Market Accents is how you'll find us on all the social media. Don't hesitate to pick up the phone, and don't hesitate to fix up a coffee. We love to meet, we love to chat. And yeah, we're always open for a chat.
Excellent. Thank you very much for being a guest on Scale Your Sales, Noreen.
Thank you very much, Janice, and thank you very much for listening.